Hey guys, welcome back to another episode on the 32 Ford Roadster. On this episode we will be sorting out the boot or the trunk, whatever you Yanks call it, just to get up a little bit of extra space so we can chuck some bags in there for the road trip. And we're also going to be tackling the dash, getting rid of that timber piece of shit and putting in the 51 Ford twin spinner dash into this 32 Roadster. Had to fabricate it all pretty much. So we give you a bit of a rundown on how we did that. So sit back, grab a beer and enjoy. I've just been playing around this morning. So this is the dash that's going in, the spinner dash. So this originally was silver and it has like a black backing. And that is sort of like that's what covers the dash, and it looks really neat. Because the steering column on our car comes out about here, and we're not going to have this gauge, we need to make a custom mesh section, perforated steel section that goes across the whole lot. So I've just found a supplier that matches this stuff. It's a little bit bigger, but I think that should do the trick. Obviously it won't be black, we'll paint it silver, and then it'll have black backing behind here. So that way we can, cover up, because that, steering column's not going to be there, that gauge isn't going to be there, so it'll just be mesh the whole way. Then probably just put our gauges in here, and yeah, it'll look fucking mint. So while we wait for that metal to come in, the perforated steel, I think the first point to call is move this bar forward. So we're just going to move it back, move it forwards, just one thickness of the thickness of itself across, just to gain a little bit more boot space in here. So let's get stuck into it. Alright, I'm gonna have to actually do it. Alright, I've cut this naughty little number out. It's ready to go to move back, but this one is fucking real close. So I might struggle to sort of get it out without hitting anything else, so I'll just have to try my best and smash the rest, as they say. Alright, so I've cut most of the way through, but as you can see here, like, it starts hitting the inner guard before I'm right the way through the metal. So I'm just trying to literally, like, I got the last little bit, I'm just trying to snap the dog off. There you go. So now I'll weld that new bar in here. This body mount here I'll remount to there. Beautiful. I've sort of had to move this one across about 20 mil. Got that. I've welded the body mounts back on both sides. As you can see there, to there, onto that. So now I'll probably cross brace it so the body doesn't move, and then I'm going to make up some little mounts here. So to mount this body mount off and that, so have a nice little rubber mount there for the body. Point for those rear body mounts, I've already cut one out, but just cutting a section out of this, it's about 4 mil fucking C channel. Cut that bit out and then we'll use that to start fabricating the body mount. Alright, so we got this is going to be the mount for the body. Chop that off there, so this will weld on there and then mount on the chassis with some rubber, and then that'll mount the body. So I've got this tacked in, this bar, so it's going to be that'll be the new end of the boot. So then this will open up a bit more, give us a bee's dick more space for storage. Alright, I've made up some little gussets for these body mounts, so I'm just going to TIG them on now. Well, I've finished off those little mounts and put a little gusset in there, and then just a little bit of strap which picks up the old body mount. I've just tacked them in, and I'll wait till tomorrow, get Dad to have a look, make sure he's happy with it before we weld it fully. Yeah, each side's a little bit different, but each side was different, so just kind of tried to make them as similar as possible, but custom to each side. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here, we're just trying to get it working again. Because as it was before, this side was the only side that was touching, so now at least both sides of the body will be held. It should eliminate some bumps. So we're just reusing the old floor, we're not reinventing the wheel, we just want it to be the same car at the end. But because I've moved that bar back, I need to change this angle. And to try and get a nice fold, I sort of made up this little homemade folder. So you literally just stick it up there. It's like the perfect length, just bang, then just break it and just keep going along. So I'm pretty much just bang in and then down, just break in the fold. This handle is quite long, so I do think I may have to trim it down at some stage. Alright, there's the new and improved Stump-O-Matic 2000. So let's see. It's still actually fucking hot from cutting it. It's still hot, I'm gonna have to let that cool down. So, I'll be back. Alright, just gave the dog a little bath, so now she's nice and cool. Stump-O-Matic 4000. Look at that, bang. Alright, next issue, my little gusset on the bottom is fouling out on the other bit of the chassis. So a little trim job, should be nice and streamlined now. I think the structural integrity of the tool hasn't been affected, but we'll just have to see. Could have maybe curbed this problem just by using a slightly thicker plate on the bottom, but who gives a fuck? So all the hammer's doing is just kind of, so when you're bending it, there, yeah, this is kind of getting a bit of a curve. So I'm just hammering it along the metal bar there just to sort of flatten it out and just, you know, relax it into place. So there is a little bit of oil canning in here because it actually has been stretched and I've had to flatten it out. So yeah, it's not its first hit. But yeah, it's looking good. So we've got it pretty good now. I'm just going to finish it off, get the last bit just with this other specialised tool that I made. Alrighty, got this all folded in, glued and pop riveted down. Little fucking makeshift folder did the job. So that's all looking good now. So now we can move on to the funner shit, like doing the dash, putting the blower on it. So this job's out of the way. Pretty much done here. Got the body mounted. She's looking mint. Brand new second hand. Tank can go back in. Probably won't put the interior in yet, but that can go in. So now we got to do the dash and the blower, which is there. Very slow zoom, but she's sitting there looking naughty, waiting to go on. So let's get that done. Alright, Dad wants to run this GD Falcon cap, but it's sitting up a bit there. So I think I need to try and maybe machine the chrome bit out so that this lip of the cap sits at the lip of this inked part, and it should sit pretty well. Had the cap, so did the customization. Sorry, I got a bulb in my mouth. Yeah, so we customized it, machined it down so it sits flat, but when he was doing the bottom one, like the middle, there's not a lot of meat there, and it actually grabbed and ripped the stalk out of the cap. So I've got it, like I filed it and got it all sitting in there nice. Drilled and tapped it, so it's going to bolt into that one. And I put a bit of JB bloody weld shit in there and that'll hold it flat. I mean, looks fucking sweet from here, you never know. Just picked up the sheet. Dad and I went to Dandenong and picked it up. So we're going to do our first test run, hopefully be the last, but we've got a bit of metal so we can make a few fuck ups. So we need about 230 mil. So I've just marked that on with a line on the steel. Ooh, I probably shouldn't scratch that. So I'll pull this forwards, lop it off, and then we'll start marking it up and get something happening.
Beautiful! That was just perfect. Pretty good. Yeah.
Alright, so I've cut a little strip off of that sheet that we bought. So now I just need to, what I'm going to do is just sort of essentially mark the other one on the back but with no holes. But first I need to address there's like a little return here that sort of hooks around the bottom of the dash. So I'm going to mark that and then I can set how far I want to move that up and then mark around. So it's about 3 mil, so I'll just mark each side and then get a straight edge on it. Alright, so I couldn't find my actual straight edge, but I found this bit of quad or something, I don't know what you call it, I'm not a timber expert, but it has a straight edge on it, so I'm going to get a little bit of a line just for a guide. So I'm just marking as many holes as I can, even if I don't cut them out, it's more or less just reference points for, because when I do this rolling, need to stay, need to not move. So I want to measure on the dash actually the overall distance that these need to be, because these may not actually sit. Yeah, we're making a fill-in panel, but these two, when they're on, I don't know if they sit there or they might be that far apart and get covered. So I'll actually measure the overall distance from say this point to there, and I'll mark that, and then I can use that to figure out where that goes. So at 358 from the edge of that hole. Give you a bit of a suss. It's as fucking light. So as you can see, we've got it sitting nice in there. This is a bit of a guesstimate through here, and who knows what's actually they've done there when they've filled it on the dash. So, but yeah, it's sitting pretty good. So now if we can just get this bend looking good, and then we'll just do a little fold on the bottom and bellissimo. But yeah, it's looking, I mean, all we've done is cut the shape and it's looking good. So this is gonna look shit hot. Need some little clamps. Jared, if you're watching, we need a few more clamps. You took them home, alright? Need to bring them back. I've only got one. I saw them all at your house on Friday. Yeah, so that'll hold that a little bit. I might try and get another one over here. Oh, I just want to bend the dog, but I'm getting excited. Making this bit is like step one of a few, because the next step is getting the bottom, this bit in here that isn't in the car, to fit in the car, and then getting this to fit in later. So this is just like, I feel like when I push on that, it's just gonna fucking bend up. it's going, piece of piss. This is looking sick. Okay. Got a drama there. Actually, there's a few little ones of these that are raised. So, might have to give them a bit of love. But, right. That's looking a bit more. Come on, you maggot. Yeah, we got no idea. We're getting the idea. That's gonna work, Hanji. And it's gonna look shit hot. Found something that's giving us a little issue. See, these actually have a little like lip, so that the bezels sit flat when it's on the dash, but we're actually not going to run them, so I need to knock these flat. And this one here, just need to massage them down, and then we'll be able to get a good nice benderoonie on it. So there's a few different sounds when you're like panel beating. This, that's stretching the metal. That sort of tinny, that's just like sort of massaging around. I don't really want to stretch the metal because there's actually probably already too much metal there. So I'm just kind of using the dolly to support it and just sort of flattening it out. Which I think I've done. It should give us no more dramas. I need something round to bend it over that's not that, just so I can get a bit of over center action. Because like when you're bending a piece of metal, I can't just bend it on that and it'll go to that, because it sort of needs to go too far, then relax back to where I need it. So if I'm just trying to use that, it's never going to go far enough. So I need to find something that I can just give it a bit of a fucking bit of an oink over, and then sit it on there. And here's something I prepared earlier. Maybe too big. We'll see. Yeah, needs something sharper. Needs to like. This thing's about the same. And it just gets held on with the bolts. So I could even put the trim on, and I want to bend it more. I want to get it fit. Just to get it around a little bit more. We want that straight, not okay. But yeah, it's looking good. It's looking good. It's looking good. Right, so we're gonna, instead of cutting this dash up, we're gonna try and make our own sort of bottom section, because we made the top. Sort of see if we can do both. So Dad's just literally marking out a copy, because this is like I think 1.6 or something. Copy of the mesh bit that I made, and we're gonna chop that out and then see if we can. Well, we will just make our own bottom section. Whether we use this or I've got a little bit thicker stuff is yet to be decided, but that's where we're at.
Beautiful.
All right. So last night took this bit of shit home to try and chuck in the rollers and roll it, but our rollers are only like a meter and this is like 1200, so it didn't fit. So now I have to come up with another solution as to how we're gonna get the shape into that. So maybe, I don't know, bend it over something. So we've got to figure that out now. So I'm gonna clamp this bit of wood on the table, this bit over there, and try and bend it over. So I'm just going to measure. So this edge here is like there. So I'm just going to measure how far up the fold needs to go. So it's like about 35 mil. So measure 35 on here, ish. Just so I know sort of where the fold has to start, where this radius has to start. It has got quite a bit of shape up there. Didn't actually fit in the roller last night, so we'll try this. Otherwise, when Dad's not looking, I'm just going to cut this out and be done with it. So this is like the radius area through here to here. So I've just clamped it there, and now I'm just going to try and like fucking crank it. But alright, so I've been clamping it and then bending it over, so I'm like sort of on the way. It looks pretty dog shit, but I think we're getting there. Just need a bit more through here, this section, a bit more fold, so I might stick it on the sandbag actually and just sort of block through the guts of it just to curl it over a little bit. It's getting close. So I ended up sort of, as you can see with all the dints through there, just sort of blocking it out on the sandbag to get a bit of shape. Ideally you'd have like an English wheel or something to clean that up a bit, but so I might just have to gently just give it a bit more of a block just to even it all out. But yeah, the general shape is getting there now. So I pretty much just, to get that through there, I was just smacking it out through there. I mean, I think it's going to work, so I just need to start maybe trimming it up now and making it fit well, and then we can clean it up from there. Because this is just going to be the bottom piece that the top goes on. You know what I mean? This gets covered by that anyway, so that's sitting pretty good in there now. Just need to trim it up a bit to suit the car, and obviously clean up the dents and whatnot. But this is the bottom piece, so this is replicating this, just without all the holes and shit. So we don't have to cut this dash out. Alright, so it's fitting pretty well, but because we've put shape down in this part, it's actually a bit, it needs to get shrunk across that top edge. So I'll have to go borrow my mate's shrinker and stretcher and just shrink along the top, which will tighten that up and get rid of that oil canning. But otherwise it's looking pretty cool. Alright, it's about 3 hours later. I've been blocking, hammering, smashing, folding, filing, and yeah, got that bit looking pretty good in there. So I think the first thing I'm going to do is just get this mounted up to the car, and then I'll fit the mesh sort of later. So that looks alright. Obviously it needs to be cleaned up a bit because I've just didn't have a roller, so I've just fucking blocked it and bent it and whatever. But yeah, it's getting there. So that should be alright. So now I'm going to mount this to the car, get that solid. That's going to be the first point of call, and then we can cut holes for gauges and steering columns and all that other bullshit. So I was going to actually weld this piece in, but now I've just put like a riv nut and a bolt. I'll probably just put a few bolts around it so it can be taken out and not, to get under there if we ever have to. It's pretty, handy little thing to have. Yeah, we'll have to look at the bolts, but I'll just get like a little, this is all going to be silver anyway, but it'll be handy to come out, I think. So that's the route we're going to go now. So there's not a lot of meat on these, so I might just have 3 or 4 holding it, and then a couple underneath, and Rob's your uncle. Alright, fucking fair bit later. So it's all like nut serted all around here, or riv nuts, whatever you call them. And underneath, just fucking solid. Sort of plenish a bit with the hammer and dolly, but you're not even going to see it. It's going to get covered by the mesh anyway, so fucking who gives a fuck. Paint that black. So now we're just going to find where the column goes, the gauges and everything, make this complete, bolting in and out, and then fit the mesh. And then I didn't have any hole saws, so I've just tin snipped the dog for the for the steering column. So I've just tin snipped it off. Precise. But gonna see if the steering column fits in now. Alright, got the column sort of test fitted. All fits in. Me fucking little hole that I cut out worked, so thank fork. So we're gonna, not gonna happen. That's fucking way too big. Dad wanted to put this star model gauge in there, but I think it's a bit too big. I think like there'd be no dash left, and not so much the fact that it's too big. I think it'd look grouse. It's more there'd be like nothing holding it together. I'll keep having a fuck around and see if we can make this work. I mean, like that, I mean, it would look cool, but it doesn't leave much. It's too big. I think it's too big. Alright, so I've cut one, like a template out of cardboard. Oh, shit. To get a bit of an idea of how this is going to look on the dash. And come to the conclusion that it's too big. Like, so this is obviously, this dash has got shape to it. And this is a flat gauge, so I don't think it's going to work. Alright, so Dad brought down a bunch of Speedos that he had laying around, and found one that will do the trick. And so it's actually Monday now. So yesterday, so we've got this gauge here. Oh, get some light. This one here. So it looks pretty good. It's a fair bit smaller. So we've just got them, and then we've got water temp and oil pressure. So that's going to be them. That's all we're going to have in there. Obviously steering column goes over there. So the mesh will go on top of this now. So now that I've got this bolted up, gauges fitting. Yesterday made up this like a new trans tunnel just out of sort of other bits of shit and just chopped them up and whatever. Because the other one was like literally only went to like about here, and this is bell housing. So now we've got that one there, goes right up there on the firewall. So hopefully next couple of days when I get some spare time, I'll start mounting this mesh up and get that on there, get it all together, get the gauge all the dash all together on the bench, sorry, and then just put it into the car. I've also got the handbrake down here that we're fucking around with, so. But yeah, I think that looks pretty smart for now, even just like that. So with the mesh on there, it's going to look beautiful. Speed limit only goes up to 100 miles an hour, so might have to like down drive it or something. So this thing's going to fly. Alright, so I've fitted up the mesh over the bottom bit that I've made. So that got that in there, got the gauges in there, cut the hole for the steering column. Oops, pardon me. It's got to make some sort of trim that goes along the bottom. Just got to keep that up. And now I'm just sort of fitting these trims, which because, yeah, so these need to get adjusted and filed and whatever, because yeah, they're made to sit in the angle right at the back of this. But now, because we've got that, there's like 1 mil there, then we've got 1 mil on top, and then another 1 mil. So now they're sitting
2 + 2 is 4, -1, that's 3, quick maths.
maybe 3 or 4 mil up. So I need to just sort of cut them down, trim and file them to get them sitting nice. Then we can bolt them in. Then I'll pull that out again for the 50th time. Paint the back black, paint the top silver, put it all together, stick it in, and then we start on the supercharger. We've only got literally today 2 weeks till we leave to go to the show, so we've still got to put the supercharger on, finish the dash, radiator and grill back in, and like get it running, do a throttle cable, as well as work as well. So yeah, fucking ran out of time. That's what always happens, but you always get the shit done in the last minute. But I wouldn't mind running it a few times before we take off on a yeah, like 800, 900k drive each way. All right, so fitted up that trim, got it looking fucking, pretty good. So we've just painted the dash and this blower manifold and all that shit. We painted them last night and they've just been in the spray booth overnight, like baking, so we'll just check them out now. There's our spray booth, this is airflow. Got the sophisticated arms set up for holding the items in the air. Here we go, so they've been baking overnight. Yeah, it's looking good, nice silver. Got the fiddly bits can, it's a good shit. Here's the dash. Now it's black, you can fucking see the blocking marks in it pretty bad, but oh well, that'll be behind the thing. Blower manifold, painted up. That's the custom little water jacket bit. So that's all painted, and we've got the adapter. So we bought this Nice Storm, how the fuck you say it, manifold. So that's actually for a 471, but we didn't realise this is a 371. So we've had to make an adapter, which actually I think looks cool anyway, because it just sort of brings it up a bit higher. So the adapter's been made. So that's pretty well, now that's dry, we can whack that on. And yeah, start put the manifold on and then put the blower on. But first we'll probably get the dash all done and then the handbrake set up. And then go under that. But yeah, here's our spray booth. It's only the most professional stuff around here. We actually use it as a car hoist sometimes as well. Alright, let's put the first gauge in. Since it's come out of the spray booth, looking good. It's gonna look shit hot. Dad's just cleaning up the wiring on the steering column. Just put the dash in for the last time. Yeah, fucking rubbing away. Just put the dash in for the last time. Still got to put the chrome trim on and the column in. But got the new floor bit in there. Handbrake. Now it's working handbrake. It was always in there, but never did anything. All right, got the dash in, chrome on. So the chrome is the whole way around except for this little bit here where the old speedo was. So we've probably got to make up something just to go in there. We've got the steering column in for the last time. And we have got about a week and a half to go before we go drive this to Sydney. And this is what it's looking like still. That's the motor. We're still waiting on a pulley to come for the supercharger. So when that stuff comes, we can whack all that stuff on. So thanks for watching, guys. Really appreciate it. If you could like and subscribe, that would be shit hot. Next time we're gonna get the blower on, start it up, and hit the road. Cheers, guys.